Okay, welcome to today's class. Last In the last video, we have seen about VPC. VPC is a virtual private cloud. How will you create an VPC, and then how will you create public and private subnets, and how you create route tables in it, like how you create public route table and private route table, and create internet gateway, and create NAT gateway and map them into the routing table. So the machines in the public subnet can access the internet. So and the machines in private subnet will not able to access the machine. And then how to like an machine from one VPC to contact to another VPC by using the VPC peering. And then at the last we were seeing some theoretical knowledge about transit gateway instead of using VPC's peering to have a central point of transit gateway where your multiple VPCs can get attached, so they can be talked to each other without using the VPC pairing. So that is what we have seen in the last class. Today's class is completely about about Amazon S3. What is this Amazon S3? So it's meant like simple storage service. That's what we simply call as S3. So it is the one of the most used service for anybody, because this is kind of a blob storage. Like how do you store some files? How do you store some videos in your local? The same way you can store the files in the S3. Um, it has a lot of features and a lot of parameters. So each and everything we will try to discover. First, we will see the basic things about S3, how you create a bucket and how you upload files and how you can host some static website in it. So many people today use S3. Like if you take Netflix, all the videos which you watch, that most of them actually stored in the S3. Because it's kind of a blob story, and there is no limitation to this S3. uh, and it is kind of a global service. It's kind of a global service, but the files upload, the bucket you create, it always bounded to any of the region. Okay, so it can be used for multiple purpose like backup and storage, application hosting, media hosting, and then for analytic data, and then to host some static websites. So static website means like there are kind of two kind of websites. One is like static website and is dynamic website. Static website, you no need to do anything in the website. You just go and you see kind of info page. You no need to you're not going to grieve any data, or you're gonna going to retrieve any data from the application. You're just going to view the application. Whatever the data is available, you just read the data. So dynamic website means you will be have some front end, back end, and then you have some database things. So S3, you can just upload your static files and then you can view those static pages. Um, so what is this S3 bucket? Let me go to in order for you to create an S3 bucket, there are some certain limitations, because the name that you keep for S3 bucket, it should be globally unique. Globally unique in sense, if you create some name like demo hyphen Satish or something hyphen 01, the same name cannot be used by you in your account. Even though accounts are different, you cannot use the same name. That's the consent set by the AWS, and the naming convention should follow this consents. No uppercase should be there, no undercase should be there, and then should start with at least 3 to 63 characters. You no need to actually like remember these things, but you should know you should have a globally unique name here. And few other consents are there. So let me go to my AWS account here now. So and then in the search bar I click S3. The first thing it comes. Now what I'm going to do here is like I'm going to click the create bucket button. Create bucket, and then it is asking like general purpose or directory. Always mostly choose the general purpose. This is what this directory option is being provided by AWS recently. So previously we had only one type of bucket type, it is called general purpose, and it is being used most widely. In the bucket name I just give some Phoenix uh, bucket hyphen 01. Okay, it should be unique, and you see all the constants. A bucket name must starts with must be 3 to 63 characters and unique with global namespaces. So you can see the constraints. The bucket name must be also begin and end with letter or number. Valid characters are A to Z and 0 to 9 and period. And hyphens, no underscore is allowed here. So you just give the bucket name here and then you give the object ownership. Object means whatever the file that you will going to upload in the S3, we call it as an object. So if so like either can be a text file, log file, or like some media files or some any audio files, whatever the file that you are going to upload in the bucket, we call it as an object. So if you want to control, like in your bucket, you will be having multiple files, right? But if in order for you to control the specific file permission, that is even possible. That is what we call ACL. ACL means access control list. So all objects in the buckets are owned by this account. Access to this bucket and this object is specified using only policies. So when ACL is disabled, so all the permissions are actually controlled by your IAM policies. So you remember when we create IAM, we create user and we attach some policy like Amazon S3 full access. So that will means it has all the access by default itself. If you don't want to do that, you have to like even though the user has some AWS full access, if you enable the ACL, then the user will not able to access the particular file or file from the S3. That's the use of this option ACL. So for now I'm just disabling ACL. I don't want because I'm actually logged in as a root user, and if I disable the ACL, I by default I should be able to access all the files in the bucket. And then you see one more option called block public access settings for this bucket. So this means um, so by default, whatever the bucket you create, AWS is aware that you're going to upload some critical files. So nobody should access the files. Like in EC2, what we did when a machine is created by using the public IP, we access the machine. For that, you have to like open the security groups on the SSH port or on the RDP port. So similar to that, so when your bucket is created, you will have some URL. By using that, you can access the files for static website. So by default, it is all the public access is disabled right now. What I want to show you is like I want to like I am planning to host a static website here, so I will call it as Phoenix website bucket. Okay, I call it a Phoenix website bucket, and I want a public access should be enabled. So I actually uncheck this option, and then I'm acknowledging the settings. So and one more thing is that bucket versioning, because in this bucket what you will consider you have some file called demo.txt file. So you have some lines or like some code in the file, but later when you enable bucket versioning, so it will track the changes in the particular file, because in later tomorrow you updated the file and you uploaded that file to back to S3, so it will compare whatever the changes in the previous file version and the new version, and you can by default you will see the newly uploaded changes. If you needed what was the change of previous version, that also you can even see that. So for now, I don't. What I do is like I just enable the versioning here. So whatever the changes I do for static website, I can see from the bucket. So and then the thing is like encryption. So uh, like we talked about this encryption when we talk about some SSH, we talk about encryptions, like how the my local machine is get connected to some private machines in the VPC. Similar to that, so the files that you upload, well, you have to encrypt them. Encryption always means like you cannot read the file directly. So you uploaded some file, but if it is in like some plain text, so it's a readable format. In the readable format, you will read it. But when it is like base 64 encoded format, you cannot read the file. So that's the use. So whether for the S3, always some default encryption is available. That is called server side encryption with Amazon S3 managed key. So what is this Amazon S3 managed key? Managed key means like Amazon AWS itself will manage this key, and it is like server side. So there is always two things that when we talk about this traffic flows or some encryption we talk, we always talk about some client and servers. So consider your local machine is client. Okay, always consider your local machine as client. Server instance, wherever you host some application, that is what we call server side. So always a client is going to access some data from the server in general. So server side encryption side, we will do the encryption in the server side. Once the file is uploaded from the client and from your local machine to AWS S3, we will do the encryption. That is what we mean called server side encryption with Amazon S3 managed keys. And then if you don't want some AWS want to manage these keys, that you feel like you have some encryption keys with you and you have to pass that for S3. In that sense, you have to do, you see, it once I choose the option called server side encryption with AWS key management service, it is asking for ARN. What is this ARN? So whenever you create any service, like when we created EC2, ES3, or like KMS, whatever the service we create, it is a global ID. Okay, so you see how it defines ARN, AWS, KMS, and the region, and this account ID, and your key and the key ID. So this ARN always points means like an resource ID for your that is called like uh, Amazon resource number. Okay, that is what this ARN points. Whenever you create any resource in cloud, it will create an ARN for that. So if I choose KNMS, I should give that key ID here, but I'm not going to use any AWS key management service here. So I'm going to disable this. I'm going to use the default option, and one more option available for like dual layer server side encryption with AWS key management service. So if you want to do the encryption from the both the ends, then you will be choosing this option. Mostly nobody's do this kind of encryptions. Usually they will follow the default one, server side encryption with Amazon S3 managed keys. Let me go through once again whatever I created. So even though you see like AWS S3, I'm creating in a Asia Pacific region, and general purpose bucket name, ownership is ACL disabled. I unchecked the block called public IP access option. Bucket versioning is enabled true. Default encryption is equal to server-side encryption with Amazon S3 managed keys, and then bucket key is equal to enable, and then advanced uh, settings. I didn't choose anything. I am going to create the bucket now. Bucket with the same name exists. Okay. Hmm. Now you see, now my bucket is created. So if you see this Amazon S3, you see click the general purpose buckets, you see a bucket called Phoenix website bucket -01. Now and it is shows the creation date and Asia Pacific wherever the region is got associated, it is showing here. Now once you click this bucket, you will come inside that and you see a lot of options here. First, what I am going to do is like I'm going to upload a index.html file. You know, right? Like how this website and all run. So everything it'll be some HTML files. So whatever the browser review, like we have for front end, we have multiple code supported like HTML, CSS, React, Angular. So I'm going to upload a single HTML file. So let me go to my local. Mm, mm. I have an index.html file. If it opens, it comes like welcome to my S3 static web page. See, it is opening from my local now. Okay, and if we see open with this is how this simple HTML format will look. Okay, uh, my web3 website, and I added some headers and paragraph to this. Okay, what I want to do is like I'm going to upload this index.html file first to my S3 bucket. When you click the upload option, and then you can just drag and drop. Now the index.file name will come, and then you click add files or anything. So now what I use, properties. Uh, I will talk about this property separately. Now my plan is to send a static website in the S3. Okay. Now I uploaded the index.html and then you click upload. Now the file is created. If I go back to my bucket, now you see a index.html file is been created. Now what I want to show you is like, let me go to this permission sections here. What I planned is to like, I wanted to host the application here. Okay. Oh, in properties. Hmm. You see a section in the properties called static website hosting, right? And it is currently disabled. Because once I enable only, it will give me some HTTPS URL. By using that link, I can access my uh, website. Okay, you just do in the static website hosting, edit it, and then you enable them, and then it asks for some options like hosting type, host a static website, and my website default page should be like index.html, and then I save the changes. Now see successfully edited static website hosting. If you go back to the section, you will be obviously seeing a HTTP URL here. You see Phoenix website hyphen bucket hyphen 01 S3 website AP South Amazon AWS.com. If you click that, first what will happen is like, mostly it will give you the 403 error, because so I hosted an application, but I didn't provided who, because this is an internet. Okay, this is my AWS account. Obviously, I'm the root user. I will be having all the permission. But while I'm accessing this from the internet, it doesn't know who I am. Okay, for that, because for that you have to provide some specific policy to this bucket. So that is something we call bucket policy. You scroll up and then you will be seeing something called bucket policy. In the permissions, you will be seeing something called bucket policy. Like as I said, you have to specify who will able to access my website. Even though it is public, you should explicitly set who will able to access the website. For now, what I'm going to do is like, um, I'm going to make some policy updates here so that everybody from the world can access this bucket. So obviously you will not be doing that when you have in some or working in some organization. You will be having some private IP restrictions or some like some global protect or VPN kind of restrictions. So only those should access the static pages. So for now, for this demo class, I'm going to make it available for everybody in the world. So what I'm going to do, like, I am going to upload something called um, some uh, updated some policy here. Here you see. So the policy format looks same what we discussed in the IAM. You see the version is like 2012, 10 and 17. 17 statement and it is like public read get object. This is just an, you can give any name here. It's kind of a variable, and the effect is allow, and the principal is star. That means star means throughout the world, everybody. That's what it means. And then the action is S3 get object. As I told, like all the files that we upload in S3 we called as objects, and the action here is like S3 get object. That means it is going to allow to only read the file, not able to edit from the internet, only the able to like read it. Effect is allow, principal is star, and action is get the object. And for what resource I should associate this. For this account, this how the ARN URL mostly looks. So here I'm giving my bucket name. My bucket name I know is like Phoenix uh, website bucket -01. Okay, and then slash star. Slash star means inside this bucket what file I should access. So you can give restrictions here, but I'm just giving start. That means all the files inside the bucket will be accessible for the internet on this for hosting the static website. Now what I will do is like I will save this file. Mm, Obviously, if you don't, you can get this policy anywhere, or you can generate the policy here. A lot of options is there. So once you started to work effectively in the AWS, you will be get familiarized with this policy templates and all, and then you save the changes. Mm, mm, okay. Mm. Now it has been stored. The packet policy is added. If I go to the permissions, I will go to the HTTPS URL now. Mm. If you click the URL, you will be able to see it. Now you see this URL is coming from the S3 bucket. Welcome to my S3 static website. This site is hosted on Amazon S3. Now what I want to show is like now my website is updated. Now my plan is to like update some changes to this index.html and check whether this versioning is working here or not. Okay, because I told right, because you can track every changes on this file. Now let me go to my local. Where I have this index file. Open with VS Code. Hmm. Now what I will going to add is like I'm going to modify this line. Uh, I keep it as like my second line on the. So what I type like I given the paragraph like my second line on the website, and then I save the file. Now what I'm going to do is like yeah, it's got saved. Now I'm going to upload this file back to the S3. I go here and then I click the upload option. Now like I do the same thing. I just drag and drop, and then the file has been uploaded here. Now I will click the upload button. The file is uploaded. So if you go back to the website URL, if you like reload, you will see the changes here. So what I want to show is like now the second line changes are updated. If you go to this index.html file in the bucket, it will open for you. Here you can see all the details of this bucket. So the S3 URI of this bucket is like the bucket name and under slash it's called index.html and the ARN for this file and the owner of this file, region, last modified, size, type, and then object URL. What if you want to like access this you only this object URL, you will get that object URL as well. And then if you go see bucket versioning is enabled here. So if you in the top, and then you can see all the details about this file, because each and every file you can change the ownership or some specific things would change. What's the storage class, we'll discuss about the storage class. Server side encryption is there or not. So on the top you must be seeing some permissions and session version tables. So if you click that, you will see two version like two entries there. The first entry, if you click the first entry and open in new tab, you will be seeing what are the wait. Mm, ah, if you click this changes, sorry. You see the two entries, right? The first entry is like where I add the initial file upload, and the second entry file is the changes which I uploaded now. So you can track all the changes here. So if I click this older version entry here, uh, I click the open. You see it has the older changes. It doesn't have the new changes. If you click the newer version file and then you click open button here, it will include the new changes files. So by using that, you can track the changes because you will be working on some other changes. Somebody would have been uploaded this without your knowledge. You should be aware like when they uploaded and those things. That's why we have this S3 versioning as well as enabled here as well. So that is what I want to talk about this hosting static website in S3. So let me go back to my slides. So whatever I have, like let me explain. Mm, so what I like whatever the files we upload in S3, we call it as an object. So when you like let me update some other file here. Let me update some files from my local here. Um, So I have a demo.txt file in my local. It doesn't have any, I just a demo file. There is no changes here. So I just upload this file to S3 and then wait. Let me create a folder called demo. Plus in specify encryption, I just create the folder now. So inside the bucket now I have a folder here. So inside the bucket I'm going to upload this demo.txt file. Inside the demo folder I'm going to upload this demo.txt file. Now you see that demo.txt file has been added inside the demo folder. Okay, so what I want to tell here is like you can create this n number of folders or prefix. Yeah, people always call like it is a folder, but the actual name for this like a prefix. So the last entry, the demo.txt file is your is your object, but inside in between that from your bucket name to whatever the folders that you have that we called as a prefix. Here you see S3 Phoenix bucket website bucket -01 is in my bucket name and demo is in prefix and demo.txt is your object name. So this how it get varies. You can create like a number of folders in like inside the Amazon S3. Let me go to this. So the maximum size for any file to get updated is in Amazon like is 5 TB. So 5 TB is very huge. Like mostly people are using this storage to have a file that is very large in size, because if you go for some Netflix channel, they you know how much videos you watch, or if you go for NASA or something or NASDAQ, they will have some huge number of files. So then to store those like large files, you will be always used to use some block storages. So that's why we go for S3. Um, so here let's talk about some security. Either uh, the first access should be controlled from IAM policy. Like when you create a user, we will attach some policy like Amazon S3 full access or reader access or writer access, whatever it is. That is the first level of access to the S3. The second level of access, the like bucket policy, whatever we see now, like what is the effect and who should access, what kind of action you should take, and which resource you should take. Like because you might have like a number of buckets. In each and you have to specify like this user has to only access this bucket. So these things can be controlled from the bucket policy. It controls access throughout the bucket. So and then the ACL we talked. ACLs are like most commonly used to for access to provide access on the particular object that we upload in the bucket. These are like the main security policies like that you can control the permission of any file from your AWS account. So and the next thing would be like so we already talked about this bucket policy and how like we attach this bucket policies to the S3 bucket and we access to from the internet. So and then we talk, and we also know we attach the IAM policy. By using that also we'll control the access to S3 bucket. And then so if my EC2 instance want to talk to S3 bucket, so then that's also possible. We create a role, and while creating the EC2 machines, we select that role, and so that role will be attached to EC2, so that it can access my S3 bucket. So and the advanced one, the most option is like in most organizations, what they would do is like they host some files in the S3. They would might be having different accounts. Like my root is your account because your project, my like your scope of your project is to like some generate some files and put it some S3. So other scope of project is to like fetch the picture or the details that posted by your project. So in those cases, they need this cross region accounts and all. So so what they do is like in the S3 bucket, while we created this bucket policy, we would be in the resource section. um like what I talk is like we have the resource section, right? So here we will mention that account number as well, so that from the users from the other accounts can also access your S3 bucket. Then this bucket settings for hosting static website, we already seen this thing. And then we also seen about this Amazon S3 versioning. So why we need versioning and all we already seen. So in order for like to control whatever the changes that happening over a file, you will be enabling the versioning. But that is possible when you create the bucket. And then we will talk about something called replication. So what is this replication? So in most of the accounts, whatever they have the data. Let me go to my paint. Consider you have a bucket in US East 1. This is my primary bucket. Okay. Your applications uploads all that data here. So what would happen, because it's an AWS resource, for any infrastructure that we set up, there is a chance of like hardware failures and region favors. Region failure, the total data center might go down. In those cases, whatever the file you hosted from this from the region will be completely gone, right? So for that only, like in most of the production scenarios, you should be enabling this replication. So the files that you upload in the region US East means it is from Onio, it is another part of yeah, like America. Yeah, and then like if you like US West, like consider like US West as my DR region, best one as my DR region. So all the when you enable replication, these files will be asynchronous to the US based one. So no matter whatever, whenever your region in the region fails also, you will still have the file somewhere in the other regions. That's the use of replications. We will see how we will be enabling this replication now. So mm, let me close this thing. Mm. So this replication can be in the same region as well as in this another region as well for now. But mostly replications are needed in the cross region functionalities. Uh, what I want to show is like I in the same region in the Asia Pacific, I will create one more bucket. I will create a bucket for like Phoenix replication, because whatever we uploaded in my primary Phoenix website bucket, I'm going to replicate the data to here now. I enable like Phoenix replication, and then I like just choose all the default options here and enable the versioning here, and then that's it. I will create it. I think the bucket name is already taken, I guess. Uh, mm. Now the bucket is getting created. The name should be globally unique. Now you see, I have my primary bucket is like website bucket -01, and the secondary bucket is like this one. So what I will do is like I will go to this bucket, and if you go to the last management side, you will have something called replication rules. So I will going to like create this replication rules, uh, create some anything like demo or demo, and then the status is enabled. The source bucket is this bucket, Phoenix website hyphen bucket hyphen 01, and then I'm not going to give any filters because you might be having different files, right? You want to just give select some files based on some prefix. Prefix means in the start, like any like index start HTML, you give it like ind or some only the HTML files. So if you want to do filtrations, you have to add the filtrations. So I don't want to do any filtrations here. So what I will do is like I choose to my source bucket, and my destination bucket is like choose the bucket in the same account, and the bucket name should be like mm, choose my Phoenix application bucket, and then it is asking for me an IAM role. I don't have any IAM role created for this. Let me go to the IAM role section. By using this ChatGPT, what I'm going to request in ChatGPT, like I'm So I've just like asked ChatGPT, I'm going to enable replication, give me policy on that. So it has given me some policy here. So just I will copy this policy, and then I go to IAM role section. Wait. And then I create a role called um, AWS service S3, and then I choose next, and then in the permission policy, I will be creating a some policy like this. Um, hmm, wait. You have to select the policy like service names here. So I'm going to give my bucket name here, Phoenix 01. Uh, I have given my bucket names here. So just specifying like what has to be replicated from my primary bucket to the secondary bucket. So I just added this policy, and then I click next, and then I give something called S3 replication policy, and then I create it. Let's wait. Now the policy has been created. Let me go to the role, and then I do the refresh. Let me check for S3 replication. Let me create rollback. S3. Hmm. Let me write like a new policy, like create a new role, and uh, then I create save the option. So now the replication is enabled. I didn't create the role. Let's see. Um, put the prefix style. Oh no, it is asking for replication. Now if you see the replication is enabled, but if you go for replication here, there is no objects here. So if I go to my Phoenix to the main backend and then upload one more file, let me go to this replication bucket and then check for. I create a file called sample.txt file and I'm going to upload to my S3 bucket. Uh, I have created it and then I'm going to upload. It's uploaded successfully in the my main bucket, which is called a Phoenix website bucket. If I go to my replication bucket, uh, it should be present because some policy is been blocking. You can just keep remember that you should upload an policy as well, so it will work. That's it about this applications. Uh, Now let me move back to the next slides. Um, So I want to talk about this storage classes because it's an important one. So there are like six storage classes available in the S3. The the main tier is like when you upload the file. Let me go here. Let me upload to try to upload some other files. If you go to the properties, you can see here there are like different storage classes available: standard, intelligent, tiering, standard 1A, one zone, 1A, glacier flexible, and glacier deep, archive, and reduced redundancies. So what is this means? So each and every storage class, it be billable for you in different ways. So most probably whatever the files that you keep in the standard storage there are like a frequently accessed files. Like your application is going to, if think like going to access this file like continuously, then you should place the file in the storage class standard, and this file will be available across all the three available zones. So the uh, like availability of this file will be high, so that's why they are going to cost you much. So and then the second option called intelligent tiering. You are you are not sure where in which storage account you have to keep your file. You like because sometimes it is like frequently accessed and sometimes it is not being accessed. Those times you can put it in intelligent tiering. So based on the accessibility of the file, so the storage cost will be going to change for you. And then standard 1A means if you have like some less frequent files, like it is been not accessed for more in the last 30 days, and if you want that file to be placed in the three availability zones, you can use the standard 1A. So and then one zone 1A means it's similar to 1A. The 1A means like infrequent access. So one zone 1A means instead of three availability zones, your file now going to be placed in this in only one availability zone. And these files like after when you have after like no, this file is not being used for 30 days, this has been moved to this storage class. And then the last few types will be like glacier. So in the last 90 days, if you feel your file is been not accessed, then you can move to this glacier instance retrieval or glacier flexible retrieval. Like you can move to any glaciers, but what's the difference between this glacier instant retrieve and the flexible retrieval? The retrieval time. Because sometimes in the flexible like instant retrieve, you can get that file within like 2 to 3 hours, but when you move to flexible retrieval, it will take much more time. So when you move to like one second, I'm getting a call. When you move to this glacier deep live, it will take more than 12 hours for to retrieve that file. So it's based on because it's like 180 days, like 6 months. If you want to reduce the cost, uh, for the file uploads, you have to use this uh, storage account types, the glacier instant retrieval or formal retrieval or deep archive. So that's what the storage class like classes means. So in detail you will be having all the details in the other slides. What is like S3 and what is the durability, because durability is very high. So whatever the files that you keep in standard, it's like after 99 point, it's like 11 nines. So you consider how reliable the S3 storage, whatever the files that you upload in the S3, there is no chance even in the worst scenarios, the file will not be missed from your S3. That's the meaning of this 9S. Okay, and then the standard infrequent access glacier. So for you just know about these things, no need to like deep dive, but this is the one of the frequently asked question: what are the storage glaciers that are available in the S3? You should be able to answer that. And then we have something called life cycle here. So you uploaded some file in your bucket. uh, Let me go to my bucket to the management. So let me see what are the other options pending here. Bucket versioning we have seen, and then encryption we have seen. Intelligent tiering archive configurations. You are not sure, like it is similar to the intelligent tiering. So if you're not sure, you can create an intelligent tiering. So like whatever the files that get uploaded to S3 bucket based on the accessibility of the file, so the cost will be differ for you. And then the next would be uh, like Amazon T1 bridge. What is this event bridge? So it is one of the service in AWS. So if you think like any particular operations that been accessed, consider you have a number of files in this S3 bucket. If any of the one file is got deleted, you should get an alert. So in those times, you what you do is like you set this event bridge in separate service. You will see. So what will this notification when an entry, any object has been deleted, this will push the notification to event bridge. From the event bridge, it will send an email to you. So that's why we use this event bridge. And then this object lock. So it is been disabled now. It's like by default it is disabled. So if you want to lock that object, and nobody should be able to delete that object, even the root user, even with some root user with some other privileges, they will be able to delete, unless that nobody can be able to delete the object. Because if you consider it some file that you store here, it's very sensitive, and like it's a very critical for application. so it should not be disabled. So once the object is uploaded, you just edit the settings and enable it. So even the root user also not able to delete the files unless they like turn off this option. So that's the use case of this object lock. And we already seen this static website hosting, and then this permissions, permission. So bucket policy we have seen, and then ACL we have explained. If you want to, it's similar to the bucket policy. If you want to, here you have in the ACL you just have to specify the file name here. And then if you go to the management, we have already seen the replication here. So you will be seeing something called lifecycle rules. What is this lifecycle rules? So we talked about different storage classes now, right? It, but I told like from standard you keep it 30 days, after 30 days move it to 1A, after like 1A after 90 days means move to glacier instant retrieval, or move to glacier deep archive, because like Amazon provides you different storage account classes types. You are setting in life cycle here, because life cycle instance like how it has to be modified, like how it has to be taken forward. So I create some demo life cycle something, and then I come down, I choose prefix as index.html, and then if you see like transition rules. So for any files that you uploaded, there are two types, like transition and expirations. Expiration means when you want to delete the file. Transition means like when you want to translate between like one storage account to another one. So that is what we have here. When you choose when I choose this transition current version of object between storage classes, and then I'm coming down, you see choose storage class transition standard uh, 1A. So after like 30 days, and then I'm adding one more transition. I'm going to select glacier deep glide after it is 90 days. So what it means like, so by default all the files will be in the standard for the 30 days. Now I selected a something called transition current version of objects between storage accounts, and then I choose it like after 30 days it has to go to standard 1A. After 90 days it will go to glacier deep archive. And what I'm going to do, I am going to like expiry as well, delete expired object, and then I choose the expiry version of current object. So expiry version is like 180 days. So after 180 days this file will be deleted completely from the S3. Okay, that's the meaning of this thing. So that's it, and then I create the rule. So this is how you will be playing around the lifecycle rules, because when applications will keep on adding some so application will be keep on wait, application will keep on adding some changes to this thing. That's why you should have some like a little rule, so you can control your cost here. um, Let me that's the important thing about this lifecycle rules. And we talked about this notification, right? Whenever you want and send an email or some notification when object is deleted or being notified, we can configure to like instead of even breach SN as SQS as the yes, we will see about the services later. So and then I want to talk about these things. When you have some files like when it is like larger insights, consider the file it's like 1 TB, like 1 TB of files can be there, like some like or like 50 GB of files will be there. In those cases, in order for you to upload, there are different options. Now right now I upload a small file for like index dimension, it is in bytes. When you have to upload a larger files, either you can do multi-part instance. When you while upload, there is option for multi upload. You choose that multi upload, so your files will be uploaded, it's splitted. Okay, what will it will check that file and it split it automatically into like if it is like 15 GB, it splits to 5 GB, 5 GB, 5 GB, and then each and every part uploads like it separately. And one more thing would be like S3 transfer acceleration. So we know the edge location. So we talked about edge locations and presence of point will be there. So first it will upload your files near to the presence of your edge locations. From there, these regions are connected with AWS network, so the upload will be faster here. So it's kind of a performance improvement. So, but these options and all we might mostly will not be using it, but you should be aware of these things. Um, and then the security thing we talked about, like server side encryption, and then encryption with KMS, and then encryption with customer keys, and then client side encryption. Client side encryption, since uh, this is server side encryption. Like ST owned the keys, you upload some object, ST will do the encryption and uploads to S3. And then here also the user uploads the file, the object from the KMS, the key is from the KMS, and you do the encryption and upload to S3. And then from from the client side, provided key. So this is not the key from the AWS. This is the key from client end. They will provide the key because they will provide the key, and you upload the key somewhere like in the AWS, and then by using that you do the encryption. So you will not able to do the decryption because client has the key. So each and every time the client is going to retrieve this data from the local, those encryption, decryption, they are going to take care. So they will be accessing, they will be take care of this encryption part. And then this client encryption, already the file comes as encrypted only. You no need to do anything. You don't need to select encryption as well. You just upload the file. That's it. So that's the meaning of this client side encryption and server side encryptions. Um, and then one more thing is the last thing would be like cross. What is this cross? We call it as a cross origin resource sharing. We have hosted an S3 bucket now, right? So consider you have two buckets. In one bucket you have all the major files. In the second bucket you have some files. So in those cases, when you are accessing uh, files from one bucket to another file, you there is some option called cross that is available for you in your bucket. If you go to your bucket and go for management at the last section, uh, wait. You have some cross here, right? You edit the cross and then you put it like you have to put the header like allow the cross origin access to this bucket. So if you have two websites, because you if you have worked on some HTML in the index.html, like for in order to redirect from one page to another page, we will be having this redirections. So redirection URLs will be there. So in those cases, we will put another bucket. The second bucket in the second bucket, you have to enable this cross, and you have to put the header and the bucket name here. So that's what this cross means, like cross origin request resource sharing. So consider a scenario. I have a bucket with HTML and the image files in another bucket. So when you do an GET request, you will be reading this HTML. But this HTML getting refers to another bucket for this coffee.jpg. You should have something in your replication. You should in the cross region you should have this tag, and then you just save the changes. So and you enable these things. So it is for this you have to do for this cross in order to enable the cross. And then you have something called access logs. It's similar kind of like option. So you consider a bucket is primary and then secondary bucket. In the logging bucket you will be just having a logging when this file is uploaded, when this file is got deleted, where the owner of this file, what is the bytes, all the auditing purpose. If you want to do, you will be enabling this S3 access logs as well. So I think I covered most of the S3 parts today. I know S3 is very big part and I tried to cover it in a single day. I hope you got uh, some understanding about